If you keep making excuses and telling yourself that you can't, just imagine for a moment if you said that you could. Be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Welcome back to another episode of Rounding Down, where we focus on getting healthier and stronger together. Hey, welcome to Rounding Down. I am your host, Shannon, and alongside me is my wife,
Arjan. Hey.
Welcome. We have a quick question for you. Are you like me, and do you struggle with stubborn belly fat? What if I told you you could get rid of all that unwanted fat? In this episode, we will discuss why getting your body into ketosis is so beneficial on so many levels. But we need you to stick around to the end, and we'll share with you how to get into ketosis quickly. We realize that it's very difficult to balance diet and exercise with so much misinformation out there. Each week, we try to bring you the best tips, tricks, and success stories to help you along your health and fitness journey. Arjan and I are both on the Ketogenic Diet, and we're currently finding the healthier versions of ourselves through the foods we eat and some moderate exercise. Since we began our keto journey, we've lost a combined weight of 80.6 pounds.
Ooh, dang.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, we're about 50% of the way to our ultimate goals individually. So we have a little bit of work still to do. But if you want to lose weight, you're currently losing weight, you're looking for more information about keto, and you want to see and or hear about real results from two people that are along the journey ourselves, then we think this show is for you. All right, so before we get going too much further, we need to put out a disclaimer. We are not medical professionals, so you really shouldn't follow any of our advice.
No.
Without consulting your medical professional first, and then go back and listen to everything we said, and then just do it because it's awesome.
Better.
So now that we've got the disclaimer out of the way, what are we doing today?
Today, we're going to be talking about ketosis. Ketosis is a beautiful natural state of your body. What do you think, Shannon?
That's true. So ketosis is when your body starts burning fat rather than sugar for energy. Now, sugar that's usually burned is the glucose that's in your body, and that comes from the carbs that we eat. Now, extra glucose stored is in the liver or muscles as glycogen, and then anything we have extra from that is converted to fat for long-term storage. So when you're lowering your carb intake, you have an insulin hormone level drop. You internally reprogram your metabolism to shift into fat burning. And then when you're in that fat burning mode, we are technically in ketosis. Now, most people come close to ketosis when we sleep or we're fasting for about 12 hours or more. But ketosis is broken as soon as we eat because our body has to get busy digesting that food that we just ate. And more than often than not, it's breaking down all those carbs. When we eat a low carb, high fat diet, our body will go into ketosis where the body is burning fat for fuel. And then that stubborn belly fat that we mentioned is the first thing to go. Mm-hmm. So what does all this mean?
So ketosis is when your body transitions from, like you said, being in carb burning mode to fat burning mode. That's how we get into the state of ketosis. Your body's doing amazing things when it's in ketosis. Your cells are doing this thing called autophagy, and that's when it's getting rid of the old cells that are damaged and they're junk, and it's replenishing with brand new, beautiful cells. So when we combine the ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting that we're going to talk about more on our next podcast, the cells are going to go through a condition of recycling and cleaning up of bacteria and funguses, and it will make us feel better and help us reverse the process of aging. What? That is so cool. It might be.
So we found the fountain of youth?
Yeah, I think we did.
Sweet.
So it's good for your immune system, your hair and your skin. So you're going to look good and you're going to feel good. And it's very good therapy for health and longevity and helping us to just live longer and feel better. And we're also going to lose that belly fat that Shannon was talking about. Wow. Yeah. Do that again. You're gonna model.
Hey, if you're listening and not watching, you're missing out. That's all I'm saying. Stubborn belly fat.
Stubborn belly fat. So that's the best way, honestly, to measure your progress in ketosis. The scale is not going to be your friend all the time. So measurements are going to show you how far you're coming along a lot faster. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't freak yourself out over that scale number not changing as fast because it just looks different in keto. When we are working out and we're eating our moderate levels of protein and mostly fat, our muscle mass will increase as well. And that's going to have weight with it, right? So
Gonna get swole.
We're going to get swole because ketosis also helps with protein retention. So looking forward to that. And I'm already starting to notice some muscle increase as I'm doing the moderate exercise I'm doing. So that's exciting. And we also have a much better mood when we're in ketosis. So think of all the regular symptoms of low blood sugar, anxiety, and panic attacks and depression. You don't have that when you're in ketosis. Those conditions are often traced back to the low blood sugar problems. So your mood will improve significantly. Also, you're going to have increased cognitive function. Your memory and your focus and your concentration are just going to become so sharp and fast. Before I went into ketosis, I was just so foggy brained and tired, and I was struggling. I was like, why can't I do as much as I used to be able to do? But as soon as I went into ketosis, it was like a light bulb turned on. My mind worked so much faster and I was able to get so much more done. I thought that was just awesome. So that's one of my favorite things about keto. One thing that you got to be careful with ketosis is you don't want to race for crazy high numbers for the keto. You want to keep your numbers lower when you're looking at monitoring your ketones. So you can look at this precision extra glucose monitor system that you can buy at the grocery or at the pharmacy. And people use that that are diabetic, honestly. But we use that to just monitor our glucose levels. You don't need to go crazy high with these because it's not going to be more beneficial if they're really high. There's a sweet spot. So you're going to lose weight if you're in the levels of 0.5 to 1.5. Those are the light levels of ketosis, but the best spot to be in, the most optimal numbers to be in for ketosis are 1.5 to 3. So anything beyond that, it's not going to hurt you if you go up to 7, but it can hurt you in the process of going crazy high for those numbers because you're just pushing yourself really, really hard, and that can cause stress, and that can make you backwards progress on your goals. So don't worry about it. Don't go crazy for that 7 level of ketosis.
Yeah, so anything over 3 is really not recommended.
Yeah, you don't need to push yourself. That's not the goal. Health is the goal. So keep that in mind. And the way to get there is low carb intake. And you can follow that Carb Manager app to help you get there because it'll teach you how many carbs you need to eat in a day, how much fat you need to eat in a day, and your calories. Calories is not the main goal here. It's low carb intake. And you've got to make sure just to be consistent and let the time pass for your body to heal.
Yeah, that's so correct. So the transition when you're trying to get into ketosis, maybe for the very first time, can be different for everybody. Some people can get into ketosis really quickly, and quickly being about 3 days, where others can take 3 to 4 weeks, and in some cases even longer before they start to adapt to that fat burning state. So it depends really on how bad your food intake and diet was previously to going into the ketogenic diet, and for how long you were eating that way. And there's also some medical conditions that can trigger insulin resistance. But it's important that as you're getting into ketosis, if you're not a if you're not a vegetables person, you know who you are. You need to make sure you're getting your minerals. A lot of the important minerals that are missed when people are getting into ketosis is potassium and the B vitamins, because your cells are busy burning fat that are required for these micronutrients. So what you need to make sure, if you're not eating the vegetables, you need to go get some supplements and make sure that you're taking them that way. Another one that we recommend is magnesium, taking that one as well. So what does the transition period continue to look like? What are some of the signs, Arjan, that you're maybe getting into ketosis?
Yeah, so that looks different for everybody, like you were just saying. You can expect, generally speaking, after the first 3 to 4 days, something called keto flu. That's what it's been coined, where you just pretty much feel yucky. I mean, you're going to have headaches probably because it's kind of like withdrawal from all that sugar. So you're going to have headaches, you're going to be tired, you're going to be groggy and just kind of feel gross. Some people have said that they have had that up to 4 days or so. I personally had that for a good day. I took a nap, maybe 2 that day. So just expect that. Shannon didn't really have that the first time around.
I did not, no.
So it just depends on who you are and your body and how you're going to react to it. Another thing that you can expect is the signs that you're in ketosis is keto breath in the very beginning. So that also looks different for everybody. I noticed it a little bit. It smells different. It smells different. Yeah. So some people said that their breath smelled like maple syrup. I didn't personally have that, but it's different because your body's now expelling acetone when you breathe out. So that's very temporary. That's just in the beginning stages of that as well, but that's a good sign that you're getting into ketosis. Another one is that your digestion's going to change because, like we said, you're in transition. Your body's kind of wigging out for a second. You might experience constipation. You might experience diarrhea. Not everybody does. But what were you saying about that earlier?
So unfortunately, if you do have to experience diarrhea, just remember to yourself that you're losing weight, you're losing weight, you're losing weight.
Maybe it's silver lining. Dangerous.
Silver lining.
Don't make that your goal.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if it's happening to you during this process, just know that there's, you're getting rid of all the bad stuff in your body, right, and you're going to be losing weight.
Another thing to remember when you're going through this process, which is another sign that you're in good shape, is that you're going to have decreased performance when you're trying to work out really hard when you're in this stage. Don't do that to yourself. Just give yourself a little bit of time and you'll be able to work out harder later when you get there. So those are the main first initial yucky parts of that transition is for sure.
Are you saying it's going to get better? Because these don't sound very good. Yeah. I don't like these signs at all.
No doom and gloom for keto life. That's just a very temporary portion of the time frame where your body just has to heal.
Well, what are some other signs that we can look forward to know that we're possibly in ketosis?
Yeah. So you're going to be having this crazy spike in energy all of a sudden. You're going to be super surprised by that, and it's going to feel amazing. So know that that's coming. Also, weight loss. You're going to start losing weight like crazy. It's going to just drop off of you when you're in ketosis. So that's another awesome, really cool thing to look forward to. Mental clarity, like we were talking about earlier. You're just going to be super sharp and you're just going to be able to do a lot more. You're going to have a reduced appetite because your body doesn't need as much food like we were talking about earlier either. So you're not craving the sugar. You're not going to feel like your body has to have chocolate every half an hour anymore. It's fantastic. You don't feel dependent on it anymore, like it's an addiction. So you're not going to feel so bloated or inflamed. So you're going to wake up feeling refreshed in the morning instead of cranky and groany because you're hurting. So those are some really great things about getting over that hump. It's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. We're not going to sugarcoat any of that. So don't give up. Know that it's super temporary, but it's going to be so worth it once you get past that stage.
Yeah, so those were some of the signs that you're getting into ketosis or you're in ketosis. But some of the benefits, as she touched on some of them that are just some of the signs, but they're also benefits. So you begin to lose weight without starving yourself, and you don't have those hunger cravings, and you have full control of your appetite, which is just awesome. And then a lot of people can experience where they're losing 1 to 3 pounds per week, and even more if you introduce a regular exercise to your routine. You're going to start feeling happy. You're going to have more energy. She already mentioned that you're going to have that improved memory and mind clarity. And these are things that come not just at the beginning, but through the entire ketogenic and ketosis period. According to medical doctors, you can usually improve and sometimes reverse most illnesses. So with all these benefits, you got to ask yourself, well, why isn't everybody doing this? Right?
Right.
And the simple fact is that it's not for everyone. And it's not because it's harmful. It's because humans are very set in our ways. We love our food. We have our traditions, and change, let's be honest, is very difficult. But you have to ask yourself, what is your motivation or your desire? Because that's going to be key for your success. So you talked about some signs that indicate that we're possibly going into ketosis, but I didn't have all of those signs whenever I first started a keto diet. Are there any other things or instruments that people can use? I know you kind of elaborated a little bit about the precision monitor, but is there anything else that we can do that helps us know if what our ketone levels are?
Yeah, there's a few ways to test that in the beginning. You can buy those ketone test strips for your urine testing, and then it'll show you by color code where you're at. If it's like super purple red, then you're super in ketosis. So we don't use those today because they're not as accurate. So we like this precision test monitor because it's super accurate. It's going to give you consistently the results that you're looking for. There's also the breathalyzer option. We tried that. We bought one, but we still prefer the precision machine to do that.
Well, and to be fair, the one that I bought was not a very expensive one, so it could be what I bought. Yeah. It just doesn't feel like it works all the time because it'll tell me my ketone levels are 0, but then I'll go to the dreaded, prick my finger with with the blood ketone monitor, and then it'll show that I'm in ketosis. So I don't know if I'm not breathing out correctly, or if I'm not. Or if I just needed to spend more money and get a better one. I don't know what the option was there. It was a cheap one that I think I bought off of Amazon to begin with. So to be fair, that's not one that works well for us because it doesn't work all the time. Now, I think something we need to mention though. So your liver produces 3 different types of ketones, and that's why there's 3 different monitoring devices available. You got the keto strips, you've got the blood testing, and then you have the breathalyzer. So the ketone or the urine strips, the ketones that are produced in that aspect are what now?
Acetoacetate.
See, I can't pronounce these words, so this is why I'm asking you.
Like a tongue twister.
And then the next one is in our blood, and that one is beta something, right?
Beta hydroxybutyrate.
See, yes. She's got these fancy words. I can't say those words. I'm looking at the spelling of it, and I can't say it. And then the last one that comes out of our breath is what?
Acetone.
I could say that one, acetone. All right. So those are the 3 types of ketones that our liver produces. And the reason why the keto strips, ones for your urine, that we stopped using those after about a month because your liver no longer produces that one after you get into ketosis. It only really produces the last 2. So if you're using the keto strips to measure your ketone levels, you may get a reading that indicates you're not in ketosis when in fact you really are.
Right on. And many dietitians and nutritionists recommend that you do that testing daily to see where you're at, just so that you can keep up with that more so in the beginning for sure. There's some few things that you should not do when you're trying to reach ketosis, and that's eat too many carbs for sure. Also, overeating protein is not going to be good for you either. If you load your plate up with chicken, or steak, you're going to end up putting more carbs in your body because that's how your body processes too much protein. It turns it into carbs. So stay away from that. Some good healthy fat choices to get. You got to be eating mostly fat on this diet is your bulletproof coffee and avocados, creamed soup. Don't fill up on cheese or dairy because you'll just feel yucky. It's not good for your body to do that either. And it's got, what'd you say?
Cheese has a lot of hidden carbs if you eat too much of it.
Yeah, that's the other issue with that. You don't want to do that. And extreme workouts, don't push trying to get into ketosis. Like we said, that's not the goal. You want to keep your levels moderate. Don't overdo your body because you're going to stress it out and it'll be backward step for you. So those are some things to keep in mind of what not to do when you're going after ketosis.
Yeah. So before we go too much further, I think we need to just touch on 2 pieces of terminology. So ketosis versus ketoacidosis. So ketoacidosis is very dangerous and it's potentially fatal. and it's the result of a very high blood ketone levels. And it normally can occur with people that have type 1 diabetes, and in some cases, those that have late stages of type 2 diabetes. Like I said, it's rare, but it's important that you know that the ketoacidosis and ketosis are not the same thing. Ketosis is that healthy metabolic state where you have normal blood sugar levels and your ketone numbers are relatively low. As Arjan was saying earlier, anywhere between 0.5 all the way up to 3.0 is the ideal places that you want to be in, preferably in 1.5 to 3. Anything higher than that, can start to be dangerous and it's not recommended. So ketoacidosis, though, it has that high blood pH, which is extremely high. The blood sugar levels are high. And then again, the people with the type 1 or late stage type 2 diabetes produce huge levels of insulin to counter the high blood sugars. In this case, the ketone levels are very high and it's incredibly dangerous. So just keep in mind that when you're in ketosis, you're only supposed to eat about 20 grams of carbs per day. Once we reach our ketosis, most of our cells will use the ketones in our bodies to generate that energy that we need, and we'll start eating until we start eating carbohydrates again. Now, the shift from the circulating glucose to breaking down stored fat as a source of energy usually happens over the course of like 2 to 4 days for most people. And that's if you're eating fewer than 20 to 50 grams of carbohydrates per day. We recommend less than 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. And it could take much longer for some people. Now, keep in mind that it's a highly individualized process. Some people may need to have a more restricted diet to start producing enough ketones, and it could even take up to 4 to 6 weeks, like I mentioned earlier. And the way that restricted diet may look is in a previous podcast, we kind of explained what the percentages should look like. But instead of fats being only 70 to 75% of your daily intake, you would probably see something closer to 80 to 85% being healthy saturated fats, and as little as only 10% of your consumption being protein. And that's just to help kind of kickstart your body and get it into ketosis quicker.
So it's important to trust the process. The process is beautiful. The process is good. The process works. It's hard in the beginning. We're not going to sugarcoat that. You got to listen to your body. Take it slower if you feel like you need to. If you feel like that's a better choice for you, start with 50 carbs and then work your way on down to 20. 20 or less is recommended, but by all means, don't hurt yourself getting there immediately. This is at your own pace. It's individualized. Like Shannon was saying, don't burn yourself out. Give yourself grace. No one's perfect right out of the bat. Like my daddy and many wise people have said over and over in my life, anything worth doing is going to take time. So make sure that you give your mindset going in, give yourself some time so that your body can heal. That looks different, like we said, on everybody. For me, I went strong the first week. I lost, I don't even know, like 5 or 7 pounds, something like that. And then I stalled for 3 weeks because my body had to heal. And then I started dropping weight pretty quickly after that. But Shannon didn't have that, right?
No, yeah. I was in the beginning, I was losing a ton of weight really, really fast. But now I am currently right now in the middle of about a 4-week stall. I haven't lost barely any weight over the last 4 weeks. And I keep checking my ketosis levels or my ketone levels every single day just to see if I'm still in ketosis, or maybe did I have, maybe too many nuts or something that threw me out of ketosis. And so I've been the last couple of weeks really paying attention to my Carb Manager app to make sure that I'm intaking the appropriate number of carbs, less than 20 per day. I'm checking my ketones to see that I'm still in ketosis, and I'm just at that unique spot that everybody's going to go through at some point. You're going to be at a stall somewhere in your process. I'm just happen to be in a 4-week stall right now, and it is sometimes very discouraging. I'm going to be very truthful about that, because you're stepping on the scale and you're like, I did not have a moon pie, which I've talked about in other videos, and it's one of my favorite things in the world. And I know some people are like, ooh, gross, but I love it. And I'm giving up moon pies, for a better me, and I'm not losing any weight, and it's very frustrating. But then I'll go out and I'll see the same neighbors that I saw last week at the same weight, and they're like, oh my God, Shannon, you're losing so much weight. You look so good. And I'm like, well, the scale said the same thing for the last 4 weeks. So again, you have to measure your inches around your waist, around your arms, around your belly. That's where you're going to lose it the quickest. And even though you're not seeing it on the scale, the inches are coming off. That's
right. This is a lasting change. You're not going to gain all that weight back like you have with other diets when you do this. If you go off to Europe or something and have a baguette, you're going to be fine because you're going to know how to get right back into this because you've learned how the process works. And once you've learned that, then you know how to manage your life after that, to keep it healthy.
I would say something maybe to point out, though, too, real quick, is that once you've been in ketosis for a while and you do introduce carbs back into your diet, you're going to have like the reverse effects of keto flu. You're going to go through some of those same symptoms as you leave. For me, it's a lot of digestion and stuff issues, and it's not fun to go back and forth between ketosis and not ketosis. So keep that in mind, too. Once the longer you commit to something, the better I think it's obviously going to be. For
sure. I agree. So like we were saying, lifelong change. Just know that going in, this is not something that is going to be a quick fix. It's not something that you're going to do for a while and be done with it. It's a lifestyle change. And it's going to be whatever the beginning transition feels like. Just know that you've got this. We're with you and we know because we've been there too. So we want to help you along your way and on your journey. But it's going to be so very much worth it after you get through that transition period. It's going to feel great.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ketosis is the absolute ideal state for weight loss. When we burn the fat for fuel and produce those ketones, people feel completely satisfied and completely energized with just 1 and a maximum of 2 meals per day. Now, that may sound unrealistic to you right now if you've never been on the keto diet or you're exploring this for the first time, because you're used to eating several small meals throughout the day in most cases. But when you're ketosis, your body just doesn't need the same amount of food to thrive as we did when we were just consuming carbs all the time. So in the very beginning of the show, I said, if you stuck to us till the end, and we're approaching the end here, how do we get in ketosis quickly? I'm going to just go through real quick what my average day looks like here to let you know how I get in and stay in ketosis. So the first thing, I start around 9 a.m. every morning with a very highly saturated fat bulletproof coffee. You can also do tea if you prefer, if you don't like coffee. But my bulletproof coffee version, it looks something along the lines of 4 tablespoons of coconut oil and 4 tablespoons of grass-fed unsalted butter blended together with freshly brewed coffee. And that I start drinking at 9 o'clock, like I said, and it lasts me until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes I drink my coffee faster than that, but I don't have those cravings of meals, and I just don't have the desire to eat. I'm completely full. And because I put so much healthy coconut oil and grass-fed butter in my coffee at one time, that's about 100 grams of my daily fat intake. And for me, on my Carb Manager app, it says I need 139 grams of fat every day. So right there with that one coffee, I've pretty much knocked out all the fat that I need, so then I can concentrate on having very delicious, satisfying meals whenever I do eat. So my first snack is usually around like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I may grab a handful of nuts. I occasionally may make a low carb tortilla based pizza. It's one of my favorite snacks or go-to foods to eat. And that's just to hold me over till I start making dinner. And then we'll have whatever we're having that night for dinner. Like tonight we had ribeye steak and Brussels sprouts, which we have a video up on that too, but it's one of my favorite go-to meals. And then if you're not getting enough fats in, as long as you kind of do this before 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, you can have another bulletproof coffee or tea if you still need to kind of round out and make sure you're getting enough of your fats in. And then again, I don't eat anything after 7 o'clock most nights. Some days it does get pushed to 8 o'clock depending on our schedule, but I don't eat anything again until that cup of coffee at 9 a.m. the next morning. What does your day look like, Arjan?
My day is actually pretty similar. Keep in mind, we didn't start out like that. We had to transition and work our way up to that. Because what we're doing now is called intermittent fasting. And we're going to talk a lot more about that in the next talk that we have here. But like I said, it took us a while to get there, where we're only having like 1.5 meals a day. But I'm similar. I start off my day with my bulletproof coffee. It's not as intense as Shannon's. He goes all in with all that fat immediately. And I go like 2 or 3 tablespoons of grass-fed butter and maybe 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. I really like the flavor of the coconut oil. And I'll probably throw in some collagen in mine too. It's not going to kick me out of ketosis. It's not going to change my intermittent fasting, just that low level. So I'll have that, and that will satiate me as well until my 3:00-ish break. And then I'll have a snack as well. I may have an avocado because I love avocados. And that's a lot of fat too. So Shannon doesn't eat those on the regular. I do. I get a lot of fat there. So it's very individual, what you like, what you do. And then we'll have our meal together as dinner. And that'll be a healthy keto meal. And I like fat bombs. Shannon doesn't love fat bombs. So I'll have some of those made up. If I'm feeling like I'm needing some more fat, if my numbers aren't matching up in the carb manager. We do change it up a little bit on Sundays. We like to do brunch together as a family often. So oftentimes we'll have a meal 11-ish. And that'll be our first meal of the day. So we want to make sure that we're enjoying our life with our family as well too. So it's highly customizable to what works for your body. So keep that in mind too. So anything else you want to add there, Shannon?
No, I would just say when I mentioned the second bulletproof coffee in the day or in the evening, it doesn't have as much fat as I do in the morning. It's usually like 1 tablespoon of butter and one
Probably
tablespoon
be in the bathroom the whole day if you did that.
No, that's not an issue with bulletproof coffee for me.
Oh, good. That's good. Well, we really want to, we talked about tea as well. Didn't you talk about?
Yeah. We mentioned, you can have a bulletproof coffee or tea, but we just kind of stumbled upon this new little treat. It's a peppermint uncaffeinated tea. And, but the tea by itself tastes great, but I was like, ooh, I wonder if I can make a bulletproof tea out of this. And so I added some coconut oil and some butter to mine. I didn't do as much as I normally do in the morning. I did 1 and 1, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Actually, it was MCT oil. And to me, the flavor was awesome. Like it had just a little bit of coconut flavor, but you had the very strong, distinct peppermint tea flavor on the back end, which was delicious. You tried it.
Oh yeah. I like my peppermint tea naked. I don't really like all that in there, but Shannon, you could do that however long you want. That's awesome that you love that.
She likes to drink it with nothing in it. Not that she's drinking it while not wearing clothes.
Clarified. So we want to thank you all for joining us today. Remember that our goal here is to help you prevent some pitfalls and common misconceptions that can come along the way with keto. And we want to help you get your goals set and get them going. We want to do this with you. We're here together. We want to work on those together with you as we're going along the process too. So we can't wait for you to experience all the sweet life awesome that is ahead of you on this journey.
Yep. And before we go, we just want to leave you with just a little bit of an inspiration. You need to stop comparing your beginning to somebody else's middle, because otherwise it's so devastating and destructing to the process of anything that you're going to do in life. So whether that's, the ketogenic diet or you're starting, your own business, everything worth doing takes time to do.
Right on. I love that.
So if you've listened this long, thank you so much. If you would do us the favor of visiting us on our YouTube channel, as we like to produce product reviews, keto recipes, meal planning, and just all things kind of related to keto and kind of our vlogging lifestyle or our lifestyle through vlogs. So if you'd like to start the keto diet, but you're looking for like food recipes or trying to figure out what to cook, send us an email. We would love to just send you over about 21 to 28 different dinner recipes that we've tried that we really like. And so if you want to send us an email to roundingdowntogether@gmail.com, we'll definitely get that back over to you. And feel free to connect with us on Facebook as well. We do have a Facebook page. You can find that with the @ of Rounding Down Together. And then we'll just let you know we're here any way possible to help you out along this journey. So Arjan, you kind of mentioned, I think earlier, what's next week's episode going to be on?
We're going to talk a lot about intermittent fasting and what that looks like, why we do it, what's awesome about it. So be prepared.
On that note, thank you so much for listening and or watching. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, please click any like buttons, leave us any comments. And as always, thank you.